to be whole. To be healed. We are gathering to take action against sexual violence, exploitation, and trafficking towards women, girls, and boys. The Knowledge Keepers Advisory Council presenting today is layered with decades of lived experience in the sex trade. We are honored to have an Elders Council guide us through the work we know needs to be done.
We're here today. This event was put on today by the Tracy Trust Advisory Council of Knowledge Keepers. Well, the Knowledge Keepers are a group of traditional elders, grandmothers with wisdom, and women, experiential survivor voices with lived experience in the sex trade.
Violence isn't just sexual or verbal or physical. Violence can be political and systemic as well. Violence can happen through our experiences with customers, pimps, and drug dealers, but it can also come from our sisters. It can happen in recovery as we compete for power or reputation, lose sight of our common bond, and slander the names and reputations of our peers. It can happen at the hands of agencies whose mandate is to support us, when they forget that their primary agenda is to help our voices be heard, rather than using our voices to promote their agenda. It can happen at the hands of the people we are trying to serve and support, when they complain, criticize, and devalue the time and effort we are investing in them. Violence is a loaded word. There is no perfect pre-package for it. It is messy, sometimes unexpected, and almost always painful. The Knowledge Keepers have seen this. We have heard about it happening in our community, and we believe that it is beginning to consume our community. And that is why we're here today.
2010, Rose Osborne and Anne Bergabosh. 2011, Robin Gamble, Tanya Nipinak, Tiffany Sky. 2012, Ruth Wilson and Brandy Wescott. 2015, Tracy Carpenter and Tina Fontaine. 2016, Melissa Chief and Marilyn Rose Monroe. Yeah. Each time I read it, it's hard. It hits me at different points because I remember them. I remember working with these girls. I remember supporting these girls. So it's real. You know, it hits home. We've lost so many. I remember drumming at so many of the services. I remember drumming when we found the two young women on the outskirts of Winnipeg, just off McPhillips, where their bodies were dumped. And we went to those grounds and drummed. You drummed with us. And, you know, we've lost way too many. We are not a disposable commodity.
These are hard things to do when we have to gather together to pray for the women that we continue to lose, for the women who continue to be abused, for the children that we are lost and are trafficked. It continues to happen. I have thought in my day that as humans evolve, we should be evolving to a place of peace and contentment. We should be evolving to a place of love and unity and equality. Instead, we're going backwards. I never thought in my time that I would see that we're still losing women and children every day. So I pray for all of us that still remain. I pray that we will no longer lose our women and our children. And we have to work together to help it to stop.
Oh, to know how to feel what I feel. Intimacy. Into me, see. Trauma. Complex and compounded from the time I was 2 until now. How do I let myself be seen and show the broken parts of my heart and the psyche, shattered like glass by a past I had no control over?
Great White Owl is my spirit name. I'm a survivor. I'm glad to see everyone here today. It's an awesome turnout to support the International Day to Stop Violence Against Sex Trade Workers. This is something that's affected my family for multiple generations.
For myself, it's an intergenerational problem that thankfully we've got the cycles to stop now. We've broken those cycles. But for years, historically in my family, due to circumstances beyond our control, the women were sexually exploited and victims of human trafficking. Were we aware of all that? Absolutely not. We were just trying to get by and make enough money to survive, to feed the kids and put food on the table and roofs over our heads. Due to lack of education and other circumstances and cycles that trapped us for many generations, due to addictions, whatever it was in my family, a direct result was the women were abused, and violence was a daily part of it. We understood that. It was just came along with it.
As a sex trade worker in Vancouver, we didn't really see ourselves as having violence. And when they say, it's violence in the sex trade, I didn't quite understand. Yes, I had been backhanded, I'd been slapped, I'd been hit, but I didn't consider that violence. I've learned a lot since then. I've been out of the sex trade for 19 years now, and it's a long time, yes. But it's taken that much time to learn a lot of things that I needed to know in regards of being trafficked and in regards of violence. And that's why I came here, was to help women who are in the process of exiting or have exited and or trafficked, and helping them in that continuum, because it takes a long time, maybe 7 years. It's not just something we can snap our fingers and help these women. There's a lot of work to be done. These women have unfortunately been hit with post-traumatic stress disorder due to the violence. They've got anxiety, they've got depression, they have addictions. And so there's a lot of work to be done in this helping field, and we need to unite and work together in this whole continuum of services. And that's why I was so happy to be a part of this council, because I want to see this happen in the city. It's like, let's bridge the gap and make a bridge to freedom for these women.
Winnipeg Police Services has a unit that has amalgamated with another unit of missing persons, but it's the sexual exploitation unit. And it is relatively new. It's probably been around 4 or 5 years now. And the idea behind it is it's a very small team of 2 people. What they do is community relations with the women that are in the sex trade. And the women build relationships with them. And that's the important part, and trusting the police, because the relationship with those cops versus special units that are working with our women, it is so different.
Once a whore that got bought. A lady of the night that did things no lady might, but before then, a blow-up doll that breathed and seethed hurt and fear when any man came near my childlike form. It became the norm to find my power in the pleasure of another until I became a mother, abused by my lover.
My spirit names are Stand Strong Eagle Woman and Red Horse Running. I'm from the Eagle Clan, and I'm a Métis transgender woman. I don't like using that definition, transgender, because I'm a woman. People have asked me in the past, like, how do you want to be addressed? I'm a woman. How do you address a woman? Miss? No, I didn't miss anything in life. Miss. I'd like to thank my sisters for the words they shared, and I'd like to share a few words of my background. Like our sister Lori said, it began a long, long time ago. For me, violence began before I was born. My parents were alcoholics. There was family violence. At the age of 6 months, I was removed from my family, and I spent the next 19 years in the care of social services. At the age of 6 years, I was molested. At the age of 14, I was molested. At the age of 17. And when I left the last group home I resided in, I had no skills. I had dropped out of school. But I realized that I had something that people were willing to pay for. And so I began working. I worked on the assembly track, as they call it, behind the ledge of that. And then I realized that if I was going to be true to myself and be me, then I could make even more money as a girl. And when I started that, the violence came in. The addictions came in. I became a junkie at the age of 17. I went from crystal meth, and people are so shocked that it was around back then, but it was. I graduated from that to heroin when I was in Vancouver. And when you work in the field, you get high so that you don't have to think about what's going to happen. You don't have to feel anything because you really don't like yourself. And so you numb yourself with drugs, with alcohol. Today, I work for Sage House. I work full time. I work with our women who are still out there, who face the violence, the addictions, the homelessness, losing their children. It's time that this all stopped. And I urge and pray that each and every one of you will take the words that are being shared here today, take it back to your homes, educate your children. Because we used to be children too at one time. And in many ways I wish somebody would have educated me when I was growing up. But I'm thankful for the things they did give me, because I'm who I am today, and I wouldn't change nothing. Keep me rich. I have.
I just have such a hard time listening to the stories. As a child growing up in the pop, I witnessed the horrible things with women, our girls, my mom even. She wasn't home for a week. We came looking for her, me and my sister. I was maybe 12, if that, I don't even know. Looking all over her. And then when we found her, she didn't want to come home. Our women, you could tell, you knew what was happening on the streets in the Paw. It was awful. I grew up with that. My sister Edna, before she died, told me she worked the streets too. And she said, I was scared to tell you that, she said to me. And I said, Edna, I had a feeling you did. I'd never changed anything. So it's really, really just horrible. The children, the women that are missing, those that have been murdered. Like, what kind of world are we going into here? Do you know why it's important for me to tell the young people you've got to know who you are? You have to know how precious you are. That you are loved by somebody, even if you don't think so. That I love you. And I've always said that to the young people that I've worked or spoken to, because they have to know that, but they have to feel it. And when you don't love yourself enough, it's hard to feel it. So we have to share, we have to tell our children how much we love them.
Intimacy. Into me see. Shame. Real and relentless from the time I was 2 until now. How do I let myself be seen and show the broken parts of my heart and the psyche shattered like glass by a past I had no control over? When I cannot see myself beyond the choices of my past or believe in a love that lasts. My spirit scarred and old, lost in the lies that others have told about me. I seek my peace in prose, sharing my story with those I keep at arm's length, finding my strength from the word, both written and heard.
Shame should never be a part of being woman, because you see, women are sacred. They did not, on the day they were born, say, when I grow up, I'm going to be a prostitute, I'm going to sell my body. They didn't think that way. Things happen to Indigenous people from coast to coast to coast. At one time, before any contact on this beautiful land that we all live on, called Canada, there were many thousands and thousands of Indigenous people lived across this land. And I'm not saying that we were without fault. We had our experiences. But one of the things we did have was the belief that indeed women were sacred from the day they were born. Women were the power, all the females of all the animal creatures, the birds and the bees and the ants. Women were the power, the female species was the power. And so we studied that, and the men knew that, they recognized that. And so indeed, grandmothers were the power. Grandmothers chose the chiefs. Grandmothers always made sure that everything that happened in the village happened with sacredness. And what happened was the people that lived in other countries came and discovered our land. And our world changed. Completely. The world changed. The world that we knew and our ancestors knew. Not to say that we lived in peace, but we knew how to resolve our problems with our enemies. We knew all those things. We never took a pail of water without saying thank you, Earth Mother, for this beautiful water. The men never hunted and killed their relatives, the deer and the moose, without saying thank you to the spirit of the animals that we took. Everything was done with complete gratitude and prayer and ceremony. And we lived well till the Europeans came. When they studied us, they said, we have to do something about those people, the savages. They listened to those old ladies with the white hair, they got to be crazy. So we have to do something about that. And they did. They brought alcohol and they began to feed our men alcohol. And when they did that, it turned them crazy. They became insane. They began to beat their women. And so it continues and continues. So as a human race, we have to do something different because what we're doing is not right. We have to create something different. That's why I've been thinking about this for years. Myself and my daughter, we had a place called Grandmother Moon Lodge, and that was the only place women had to come to ceremony, learn that indeed they're not bad people, that they're good, beautiful women, sacred women. I sat with them for many years over and over and over again. I said, what happened to you is not your fault. How you think about yourself is not your fault. All the horrible things that were done to you, it's not your fault. Because you are sacred. One of the things that there's not enough talk about, as a grandmother, I continue to say that, and I will continue to say that right now. All the men that are sitting here, it's a message to you. It's a message to you, the men. Women have been gathering for many years, I know that. We gathered in our community at Grandmother Moon Lodge for many years to strengthen and to empower our women. And you hear the stories of these powerful women at this table here. I do not hear stories about the men gathering. Because you see, let's be honest and let's be truthful. If there was no demand, we would not have women on the streets today. If there was no demand, there would not be children exploited and sent to other countries. Something must happen in the spirits of men.
See the broken parts of my heart and love me still. See the psyche shattered like glass by a past I had no control over. And understand me anyways. See who I am beneath the hurt and the fear. And draw me near. Intimacy. Into me. See.